105th Constitutional Amendment Act. So what is this 105th? Okay, prior to that, what is 105th Constitution Amendment Act? What is an act? First of all, what is an act? What is an amendment act? What is a Constitution Amendment Act? These three things you must know. Perhaps some of the students who completed their polity, I don't know whether they can really able to distinguish all these things, but you need to know. What is an act? What is an amendment act? And what is the Constitution Amendment Act? Act. Act means it is nothing but a legislation. Legislation. Then what does it mean? What does it mean? What does a legislation mean? See, in a democratic setup, we have a parliamentary democracy where we will elect the representative and they will frame the rules and regulations on how to govern this country. That rules may be on anything. It may be on economic, political, environmental, day-to-day, national, international, anything. If the legislature in the sense parliament, at the union level, parliament. And the parliament is having two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Parliament is having two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So they sit together and they will frame some rules and regulations. That's what we call it as legislation or act. Until and unless you have the legislation, you cannot do anything in this country. Take it for granted. Every public servant has to come to office at 9 o'clock, said by one legislation. Somebody has to do something listed under a particular legislation. Without legislation, you can't do anything in this country. But a legislation or an act is a broader framework. Broader framework. That means everything cannot be said under the legislation. A legislation will give broader idea. And under the broader idea, the executive in the sense ministers and officers, they will frame detailed rules and regulations. Details, rules and regulation. And that detailed rules and regulations will help us in administering. So the point you need to understand, act is nothing but a legislation framed by the representatives of the people. Representatives of the people. And without this legislation, you can't do anything. And the legislation don't give everything. Legislation just gives the broader framework. And under the broader framework, you will have a detailed rules and regulations. We call it as GOs. We call it as GOs. I think, have you heard about GO? Government order. GO. Government orders we call it as. So that is what act. That is what act. Then what is amendment act? Amendment act. If an act needs any changes, if an existing act needs any changes, you can do that changes. It's not a new thing. Act was already there, but you need to do some sort of changes to that act. Then we call it as amendment act. Just now in the agricultural case, I have said Essential Commodities Amendment Act. That means Essential Commodities Act was already there, 1955 Act. We wanted to do some changes to that. Then we will bring the Amendment Act. It's not an original act. It's not a new act. It's adding something to the existing act. Now, the original act reads with the amendment after passage of Amendment Act. This is what Amendment Act. And the original act and Amendment Act follows the same process. When it comes to the majority, when it comes to the passage, rules and regulation, it follows the same. So that is act and that is Amendment Act. Now, what is Constitutional Amendment Act? There is no constitutional act because constitution was enacted in 1950 itself. We don't have any another constitution act, but we will have the Constitutional Amendment Act. That means we are amending the constitution. We are amending the constitution. Now you will get some contradiction here. When I say you need a legislation, without legislation you can't do anything, then what this constitution do? Or what this constitution does? Constitution sits above all. Constitution sits above all. Whatever the legislations that you are making, it must be in accordance with the constitution. You cannot frame a law which is against to the constitution. So the constitution sits above. Below the constitution, your acts and legislations will sit. Below that, your rules and regulations will sit. This is the hierarchy. If you need a small change, if you change the rules and regulation, that's fine. If you need a considerable change, you need to change the act. If you need a bigger, very highly considerable change, qualitative change, you need to amend the constitution. That is what you need to understand. A constitution amendment is not simple. A constitution amendment will be done only in an extraordinary cases. You cannot amend the constitution every day. You cannot amend the constitution for every simple reason. So that is what constitution. And this is act or legislation. This is rules and regulation. This can be done at the official levels. IAS officers can do the changes to these rules and regulations. It's not a big issue. Who will do these acts? Only legislature can do. Only member of parliaments or at the state level, member of legislative assemblies can do. Constitution, again, member of parliaments can only do. States cannot amend the constitution. Only Parliament of India can amend the constitution, but it requires some special majority. Now, how many times we have amended this constitution? The last amendment was 105. That means we have amended our constitution 105 times. In how many years? 71 years. 1950, January 26, the constitution came into existence. From then onwards till now, we have amended how many times? 105 times. Now, what is this 105th constitutional amendment? What is this 105th constitution amendment? Identifying socially, economically backward classes, not economically, educationally backward classes. Simply OBCs. I'll tell you. Before you understand 105 Act, you need to know 102nd Act, because 105th Constitution Amendment Act has restored something which we missed in the 102nd Constitution Amendment Act. By amending Constitution in the 102nd Constitution Amendment Act, we have made some changes, but that has read in a different way. That is why to nullify that effect, we have brought 105. But I am getting into 105, 102. Just I want to give some sort of information with respect to these backward classes and special provisions of the backward classes in the Constitution. Later, I'll come to exactly what is 102 and 105. See, how many of you completed fundamental rights in polity? Just raise your hands. Fundamental rights in polity. Only 2? How many of you have joined in the April batch? Just raise your hand. You haven't completed fundamental rights? Then, see, even if you don't know fundamental rights, don't worry much, because I am not going to explain all the rights, but some of the articles are important here. Again, for freshers, don't worry about what is this article and all. Okay, it's like a number 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Normally you write while you are writing answer. No, it's simply like points in the Constitution of India. See, in the Constitution of India, we have made an Article 14. Article 14 says that equality before law and equal protection of law. That means our constitution treats everyone as equal in this society, in this country. Every citizen is equal. No one is above the law, no one is below the law. That is what exactly we have said in the Article 14. But because of the social conditions prevailed in Indian society, and there was an historical injustice happened to some of the sections in India, we have created a positive discrimination. Generally, a discrimination refers to in a negative sense, but we have created a positive discrimination in our constitution itself. Or we can call it as affirmative action. And in a simple language, we can call it as reservations. So what is this positive affirmative action or positive discrimination? Because everyone, when you are saying everyone is equal before the law, no one is above and no one is below the law. But the point you need to understand, when you say everyone is equal before the law, the society must have been an equal society. See, if it is an unequal society or if it is an unequal society, if an unequal society, if you treat everyone as equal, then that inequality continues. In an unequal society, if you treat everyone as equal, that inequality continues. So in an unequal society, you need to treat the unequals as unequal. I'll tell you, don't worry. See, if everyone is equal here, if you treat everyone as equal, this equality continues. These are unequals. If you treat unequals equally, this inequality continues or inequality continues. So if they are unequal, then you have to treat them unequally. That means he has to be given less favor. This person has to be given more favor. Did you get the point? So the India, yes? No, I'll tell you again. See, take the example of your own family. Don't getting into that. See, in your family, a child of 18-year-old, a child of 10-year-old, a man of 25-year-old. And he or she is having some health problem. And she is doing a software job. And still it is a kid. If a father brings something to family, if he divides equally to 10-year-old and 18-year-old and 25-year-old, this inequality continues. She will be always weak. He or she is always weak. The weak person is always weak. So in a family, if you want to treat everyone equally, what you need to do is, who are weaker, you need to identify them. You need to give some special care to that guy or care to that person. Then he will become on par with the other. Likewise, in the society, some sections, and Constitution has not used the word caste, but Constitution has used the word class. Class having a different connotation in the international level, but in Indian context, we haven't used the word caste. We said only socially and educationally backward classes. Socially and educationally backward classes. In some cases, we have given affirmative action to the women and children also. That means women, children, and socially and educationally. So did I say it economically earlier? Educationally only. So not economically. Economically comes later. So the women, children, socially and educationally backward classes, the people belonging to this category, will get some sort of affirmative action by the governments. Government can favor these sections while they are framing the rules and regulations, or while they are bringing the laws, or while they are offering any assistance. And why we have created that? Because our society is not an equal society. Our society is an unequal society or unequal society. So the point you need to understand, in order to bring the equality in our country, we have created this affirmative action, and that actions comes under Article 15 and Article 16. If you read Article 15 and Article 16, they say that everyone is equal, but there are some exceptions. Exemptions to women, children, exemption to some of the socially and educationally backward classes. And here I am writing the socially and educationally backward classes are scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other backward classes. We have added economically weaker section. That's not our area. We can discuss it later whenever it is possible. But these are socially and educationally backward classes in our country. These people underwent for a historical injustice. That is why we need to give some sort of affirmative action to these sections. Under Article 15, the government can do any extra favor to these people, any extra favor. Either it is for allotting the houses, or allotting some extra seats in the Lok Sabha or any state legislature, or creating special fund for the development of these people, or for the reserving in the educational institutions, like anything they can do. Any measure that the government can take. Under Article 16, in public employment, the government can create a special quota for these people, SCs, STs, and OBCs. You know the jobs and reservations, simply. Reservations in jobs, simply. That means the government can do this affirmative action. The Constitution provided for that. And why you need this affirmative action? To make the society equal. To make the society equal. Now, once you understand that there are some educationally and socially backward classes, and the provision in the Constitution says that these people need some sort of extra affirmative action, and accordingly, we have framed some rules and regulations, and we are doing it now. Now, what is the problem is, when it comes to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, SC and ST, when it comes to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, actually why they are called it as scheduled caste and scheduled tribe means, in the 1935 Act, they have created a separate schedule, and some of the castes included in that schedule, and we are using the terminology even today as scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Okay, it's not necessary, but just have an idea. Anyhow, now SCs and STs, who will decide this person belonging to the scheduled caste and this person belonging to the scheduled tribe? Anyhow, Britishers have divided it, and we are following the list. But what we have written in our Constitution with respect to identifying the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, who are they? Okay, there are some castes historically went for this untouchability and all other, they are. But who decides it? Who decides it? It is the President of India will decide. It is the President of India will decide who is a scheduled caste person and who is a scheduled tribe person. That means they will list out the castes. Not like individually, they don't add a tag to you. You belonging to SC or you belonging to ST. Because in India, the society is completely a caste society. India is a caste society. Even we wanted to have a casteless society, but still we identify India with a caste. Caste is a very basic unit in India, whether we agree or disagree. We wanted to remove it, but that's a different story. Every person is identified with the caste. And in this, the president will list out what are the scheduled castes and what are the scheduled tribe castes. He will list out. We call it as presidential order. For the all India level, they will decide it. And even at the state level also, they will decide it. I'll come to that, what is all India level and what is state level. But President of India will decide who is SC and who is ST. That order was issued in 1951. If at all you want to change anything to this list, either SC or ST, only Parliament of India can do that. Only Parliament of India can do that. No state government can add any caste into list of scheduled caste or scheduled tribe. Only Parliament can do. Initial list prepared by the President of India, and later the changes to that list will be happen only through the Parliament of India. Just it is about SCs and STs. Now I'll come to OBCs. Other backward classes. But be clear, Constitution has not mentioned anything about SC or ST or OBC. Constitution simply mentioned socially, educationally backward classes. And these people comes under that socially, educationally backward classes. Now, who will decide these castes are OBC castes? Initially, when we have framed our Constitution or when we have enacted our Constitution in the 1949, I think today is the constitutional day. On this day, Constitution is enacted and came into effect on January 26, 1915. And those facts you can read from polity, and some of the students already know it. But when we have enacted our Constitution, there is no specific provision for OBCs. the Constitution of India, and under the Constitution of India, the government identifies only SCs and STs as the socially and educationally backward classes. But in the year 1953, we have appointed a commission called Kaka Kalelkar Commission. Kaka Kalelkar. Kaka Kalelkar Commission. So what does this Kaka Kalelkar Commission says? Kaka Kalelkar Commission has appointed to study the social conditions of the backward classes in this country apart from SCs and STs. We call it as first BC Commission. First BC Commission. So they have studied, okay, these people are on par with the SCs and STs. So government must also provide some sort of extra benefit to these people, and you need to count it out first how many people are there in this country. That is how they have given recommendation. And for your understanding, I am giving, in the 1932, when Britishers were there in India, we have done a caste census. Generally, we will have normal census for once in 10 years, but caste census was done in 1932 for the first time. That means how many people are belonging to a particular caste. Likewise, caste details are given in 1932. After that, we haven't done except for SCs and STs. That's not our area. But second commission in the 1979, the then Janata government appointed BP Mandal Commission. BP Mandal Commission. BP Mandal. Brindeshwari Prasad Mandal. He is an MP. And what this commission has said is, this is a second BC commission. This commission has studied the conditions of, again, backward classes apart from SCs and STs in this country. And they said you must calculate how many BCs are there in this country. And it has given a recommendation that these BCs must be given 27% reservation. Apart from all administrative favors that you are doing, but they must be provided with some sort of reservation. 27% reservation they must be given because their conditions are so pathetic in this country. We have amended the constitution. We have enacted the constitution in 1950. We got independence in 1947, but still there is no considerable change in the lives of these people. So you must extend the affirmative action to these sections also. This commission's report was implemented in 1990 by the then Prime Minister of India, VP Singh, Vishwanath Pratap Singh. So VP Singh has implemented the Mandal Commission report. Mandal Commission report. And from then onwards, BCs are also enjoying the benefits of reservation in this country. Our BCs are enjoying the affirmative action along with the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in this country. It went to the Supreme Court and a lot of arguments happened. There was a case called Indira Sahani judgment. Anyway, you will study that Indira Sahani case. I am not going to discuss that Indira Sahani here because it's irrelevant for us at this moment. But the judgment is important for you. See, in the 1990, from 1990 onwards, simultaneously, SCs, STs, and OBCs are started enjoying the benefits of reservation. Now the question comes, who will identify these OBCs? Who will identify these OBCs? That's the question. Who? In the 1993 itself, we have enacted a National BC Commission Act. National BC Commission Act. It's a legislation. And simultaneously, we have SC Commission and ST Commission. But the difference between SC, ST Commission and BC Commission is the Constitution itself mentioned about SC and ST Commission, but whereas the reference of BC Commission was not there initially in the Constitution. So SC and ST Commissions are constitutional bodies, whereas BC Commission was a statutory body. We call it a statutory body. Legislation, act, statute, both are same. Both are synonyms. Legislation, act, statute. A body created under a particular statute, so we call it a statutory body. It's a statutory body initially when we are created in 1993 after Mandal judgment. So what this body does? This is a BC commission, national level, National BC Commission, NBC. Now the reservations are applied at the national level and state level. If at all, any state government want to, first of all, I'll come to the creation of BCs, creation of list. First of all, who has created this list? On the recommendation of National Backward Classes, Commission, President of India will decide the list. President of India will decide the list. That list will be separate for at the national level. That list will be separate at the state level. That means those caste names are mentioned at the state level. They will be benefits in the state level. Suppose let us take a caste name X. Now, if you are mentioned under OBC list of state, whatever the exam that you write or whatever the employment that you are getting at the state level, you can get the benefit of OBC. Suppose if your caste name missing at the central list, then you will not be eligible to get the benefit of OBC at the national level. Your caste name should also be there in the OBC list also at the central level. This is a central list and state list. Who prepare this list? President of India will prepare the list based on the recommendation of National BC Commission. National BC Commission. And who will do the changes to this BC Commission? Who will do the changes to this list? Again, on the recommendation of the NBC. If NBC approves it, automatically change. No special parliamentary law, like in the case of SCs and STs. If the BC Commission approves it, then it will change automatically. So the National Backward Classes Commission has that power earlier. In the 107 Constitution Amendment Act, what we have done is the SC Commission and ST Commission is having a constitutional status. So because of the constitutional guarantee, they are performing effectively. Because of non-constitutional backing, the BC Commission is not functioning effectively. Because if it is a constitutional body, you will get some powers. That powers is not there for the BCs. So that is why under the 107nd Constitution Amendment Act, we have given constitutional status to the BC Commission, National BC Commission. We have given constitutional status to the National BC Commission, so that they got the constitutional status. Then government said now the BCs are empowered because the commission got the constitutional status. Now whatever the atrocities or harassment or anything happened on the BCs, now the BC Commission can function effectively. They said like it is something like empowering the BCs. That is what they said. But they have done a mistake in 102nd Constitution Amendment Act. What was that mistake is, when they have accorded the constitutional status, they said the list of OBCs will be framed by the President of India and will be amended by the Parliament of India. The list will be prepared by the President of India and it can be amended by Parliament of India. I think you can understand this statement. Same like SCs. The SCs and STs list will be prepared by the President, amended by the Parliament. They have used the same terminology. The list prepared by, I'm not giving the exact language because it's a pure legal language. It's very difficult for you to understand. But the list is prepared by the President and amended by the Parliament. Now, one case went to the Supreme Court. That case is from the state of Maharashtra. Maharashtra want to give reservations to the Marathas. Marathas were hitherto in general category. They wanted to add it to OBCs. That is why someone challenged, because it's crossing 50%. That 50% is another story. But anyhow, it went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has given a different verdict. See, prior to this 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act, prior to the 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act, if National BC Commission approves it, then automatically the caste will be added to the OBCs. But it's not strictly National BC Commission. Suppose if Kerala government wanted to some caste A and B to be added to the national OBC list, then the state itself appoint a commission. State itself appoint a commission. Commission has its own meaning in legal term. Commission means a body, a group of people who performs judicial function. Committee is different, commission is different. Who will perform judicial function? Judicial function means a function related to justice. Those that we call it as commission. So a state itself will appoint a commission, and the commission will study the conditions of these people of caste A and B, and they will substantiate everything with the data and why they must be given OBC status. Ultimately, they will write. They will directly send it to the BC Commission, and BC Commission generally approves it, and that caste will be added to the OBC list. That means it's almost like power in the hands of the state government. Almost it is in the hands of state government. Almost. National BC Commission generally don't disagree with the opinion tendered by the state commission. Generally don't. But if you given Constitution Commission, that's the story is different. But earlier condition was this. Now what happened is in the Constitution Amendment, when you said President will prepare the list and Parliament amends, what center has thought is this only applicable to the center list, but this is not applicable to the state list. That means central government thought that the state list will be prepared by the state government like earlier by appointing a commission. But whereas when it comes to the central list of OBCs, President will list out the things and Parliament can only change that. That is what the central government has thought. But Supreme Court has given a different opinion. Supreme Court opinion is that if at all you want to identify any OBC in the country, whether it is for the sake of state or whether it is for the sake of the center, that can only be done by the President, and that amendments can only be done by the Parliament. States have no role in this. States have no role in this. That means the power is completely taken away by the union government. Hitherto, it was with the state government. Did you get the point? Did you get the point? Yeah. So that is what the implication of 102nd Amendment Act. When the case went to the Supreme Court, then Supreme Court said to the Maharashtra government, who are you to amend this OBC list? Who are you to add the Marathas into the BC? You don't have a power. Haven't you read the 102nd Constitution Amendment Act? What it says? Only President can do. Only Parliament can amend. Go to the President and President will do. Then all the states have started raising their apprehension. You have taken my power. You have taken my power. Who are you to decide who are the backward classes in my state? You are just sitting in Delhi. Delhi is something for its, there is no center. Center is a myth. There was a chief minister earlier from Andhra Pradesh, N.T. Ramarao. He said there is no center. Center is a myth. Everything is state. Show me the center territory. There is no territory for center. Whatever the parliament is sitting, that comes under again Delhi state. There is no center. How can you decide the backwardness of the states, backwardness of some of the caste in my states? You are not a right person to do that. We are the right person to do. We have that power. You have taken away that power. Please restore it. Please restore it. And even when opposition came from some of the state, center decided to bring this 105 Constitution Amendment Act, in which they clearly said, as far as the center list is concerned, central OBC list is concerned, our President and Parliament will decide. Whereas it comes to the state list, the states can only do, states through their appointing a commission, and whatever the process they can do. The state legislative assemblies can prepare their own OBC list. But whereas when it comes to the center, only the President and Parliament can do that. Now there is no commission called National BC Commission. It has given constitutional status now. Now you no need to go to this commission to add the caste into the list, even if it is state or center. While they are adding, the center will add only on the recommendation of the commission, but after that states need not to go to this commission. State can do on their own. And even some of the states are demanding, who are you to decide the SCs and STs list? Again, they are living in my state. We know better about them. We know their better social conditions, educational conditions. But center don't want to give that power to the state governments because SCs and STs having their representation at the Lok Sabha and also state legislative assemblies. If you give it to the states, they can go on hiking it. It's very difficult conditions. Center don't want to give that power to the state. But whereas when it comes to the OBCs, center has given that power to the state to prepare its own list for its own purposes. That is what 105th Constitution Amendment Act. 105th Constitution Amendment Act. But there is a problem. There is a problem. What is that problem? While enacting these laws, some of the members and some of the parties have raised about, what about this population of these OBCs? Okay, you have given power to the states. We are giving 27% reservation. Just by creating a constitutional amendment, you have accorded constitutional status to the BC Commission. And now you are saying that I have done everything to the BCs. But why can't you calculate how many BCs are there? What is the percentage of reservation given to the BCs? 27. But what is the percentage of OBCs in this country? No one knows. No one knows. Generally, we are saying it is around 60%. It is 60%. But many people are strongly believes that it is not 60, it went up to 70 or 80. Hardly you are giving 27% reservation. It's not at all sufficient. Our conditions are so pathetic. If you just give the list of, if you just give the power to the state, that's not sufficient. Just calculate how many BCs are there. And once you calculate it, then they will come with why you need only 27, why not 47? The demands may come. So I'm not getting into the topics of the other demands, but a serious problem is associated with the OBCs. Now, that is the reason why a lot of political parties are raising their voice even to calculate the OBC census. They want OBC census, normally BC census. But Government of India not interested in getting into the census calculation of BCs, but they are interested not in calculating, but the political parties wanted it to be calculated. And one more thing that I want to know about this, I want to give information about OBCs. 27% reservation is given to OBCs. How many OBC castes are there in India? Any idea to anybody? Last time in the 1932, when we have calculated 4,148, if I'm not wrong, almost 4,104, this correct. Last figure subjected to some correction. Around 4,000 castes are there in India when we have calculated in 1932. In the year 2011, we have done a different census called socio-economic caste census. Socio-economic caste census. And there, the information revealed that it's a digital information. That is also one of the problems with the digital technology. The castes in India are more than 46 lakhs. More than 46 lakhs. Because it's because of digital, no? One caste, if one spelling goes wrong, then it calculates a different caste. But 46 lakh caste it has given, but 4,148, the castes that were mentioned in 1932. How many people are really getting the benefit of this 27% reservation? Is it really shared among equally all the OBCs, or only few OBCs are hijacking the benefit of this 27%? Only few. Only few. That is the reason why this particular government wanted a subcategorization of OBCs. Subcategorization. Subcategorization of OBCs. That means what? In OBCs, let it be some castes are there. I am dividing this caste into some 4 or 5. And I am dividing this 27 into, again, some, let it be 10, 5, 2, again 5, again 5, like this, 27. So most backward classes I will add in this total so that they will get 10% of reservation. Some, likewise, I'll divide. This categorization commission has already appointed. Justice Rohini Commission is looking into this. Justice Rohini Commission. Subcategorization of OBCs. So what are the different steps that the government of India has taken towards the empowerment of the OBCs? First one, they have accorded the constitutional status to the OBC Commission. Second one, they have given full powers to the state to recognize the OBC caste in their state. Third one, they wanted the fruits of reservation must be percolated into the downtrodden caste and downtrodden people. Further, they have appointed a subcategorization commission called Justice Rohini Commission. These are the positive things that they have taken towards the benefit of OBCs. But still the problem is, we don't know how many OBC people are there in this country. Does this 27%, is it really sufficient to lift them out? These are the two serious problems. But apart from these two serious problems, there is a very bigger problem, and everyone knows that problem. Does reservation is really successful in this country? Does really reservation has benefited? And should we continue this reservation? To what extent we can increase the reservation? That topic, I don't want to get into the details of the topic because that needs a lot of discussion. Okay, I cannot explain you in 5 or 10 minutes, but it takes some more time. But that's a bigger story. I don't want to getting into that story. But as far as present day is context, the Constitution of India permitted for these reservations. And under the reservation, when it comes to the OBCs, some of the things have changed. And with respect to this legislation and all, I have explained, but still some problems are existing with this OBCs. The leftover thing for the OBCs is caste census 2021. Whether the government of India will go for that caste census or not, I don't know. But a lot of regional parties, some of the states are demanding that you must calculate the OBCs. But once you calculate it, then the post consequences are so serious. That is the reason why government don't want to do that. Yesterday I have taken a class. I think if it is available in YouTube, then you can go through the census 2021, caste census 2021 I have given. But I think it will take some more time for you to understand such topics. I don't want to load all this information with you, because ultimately if you feel so difficult, no, then it will be something like a setback. So that is why I don't want to load all this information to you. But as far as 105th and 102nd Constitution Amendment is concerned, this is the issue. Is it clear? SCs, STs, OBCs, reservation, when they have started, how they have started, and who is having that power. Every state can do anything. But the point is, state cannot give the reservation to what extent it wants. That's the restriction. Within 27%, you can do any changes. Within 27, you can do any changes. You can add n number of caste into that, but you can't change the 27. 27 has to 27. It should not cross 27. It should not be like 28 or 29 or 30. Because there is a Supreme Court bar on reservation, 50% bar. I'll come to that later. But this is about that. So if you have any specific doubts with respect to all the three topics which we discussed today, we can seek a clarification. We left with, I think, another 3 to 4 minutes. So,
hello, sir.
Yeah, do you have our?
Yes, sir. Sir, you said the National Backward Commission and the State Backward Commission. So there is a list under the National Backward Commission and the State Backward Commission. Can you say how many numbers under these two lists? How many number of castes under these two lists?
See, if you want that, how many castes, again in the central list, central list is not again a complete central list. Again, in the central list also, state-wise list is there. In central list also, central list is not a single complete list. Central list is nothing but a list of states. But that state list is different from the list at the state level prepared by the state government. But if you want exact number, just go and open the social justice ministry and you will find the list of every caste.
So the state list will be higher than the central list, right?
Sometimes it may be.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Next, any doubts? Any specific doubts? No? Everything is clear? Okay. Still, if you have any doubts, you can ask me anytime whenever I'm available. But without understanding, don't say like I understood everything. Okay. You are not supposed to say that, because this is a very initial time. You have to learn everything. Whatever the little doubts you have, you need to clarify. Okay. Once your coaching and training completed, then we don't available to you. At that time, you need to do hard work to understand everything. But don't think that without understanding all these things, I can crack the UPSC. Don't think that. If you understood everything, then only you can crack the UPSC. Till that time, UPSC will ask you to wait. You will wait for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. But the point is, you need to understand all these things. Okay? Thank you. Again, we'll meet in the next week. Next week, we have another current affairs session.